Good morning. Dole, the welding instructor here. We are going to walk you through the proper steps of setting up an oxygen acetylene cutting torch system safely. The first thing you want to do is to make sure you have a fire extinguisher handy. You always want to make sure that's there. Look around, make sure you don't have nothing flammable around where you're going to be operating. Okay, now you're going to remove the caps off your bottles. One thing you want to do is you want to turn your bottles on, just crack them to make sure there's no spiders or anything that's clogging you up. Alright? Same thing with acetylene. Good to go. Alright? So there's nothing there. Alright, so now we're going to put on our regulators. This is the oxygen regulator. The reason you know it's the oxygen is because it does not have any grooves cut in it, which means it is right-handed threads. Okay? So we're going to put this bad boy on here. We're going to tighten her down. Make sure you get it good and snug. And hopefully we can get our wrench back off. Make sure this is loose. Don't go pressure hitting it automatically. And then we go to the acetylene. If you'll see, your acetylene is your fuel, and all fuel will have this cut in the nut around it. It doesn't matter what country you go to, it will have that cut. It's universal, okay? We're gonna get this put on. That means it's a left-hand thread. Turn my bottle a little bit. Okay. Now get that tightened up. Alright, we're good and tight. So the next thing we want to do, we want to grab our hose. And we want to inspect our hose first. Okay? Make sure we don't have no cuts or gaps in it, which can cause a leak and cause an explosion also, and that we don't want. Okay? Just kind of run your hands down it, you can feel if anything's on it. Alright, so now we come back over here. We're going to connect them to our tank. Alright, most people say, well, green goes to the oxygen. This could be a black hose, it doesn't matter. Okay? Two difference. Remember the fuel. It's got these little dashes in the nut, which means it's left-handed thread. This has nothing, it's right-handed thread. So I'm gonna hook up the oxygen first. On there good and tight. Then I'll take the acetylene. Now these hoses could be black, purple, pink, it doesn't matter, because it's the threads that's going to tell you, and the notch in the nut that will tell you which one it goes to. Got them on. Now I'm going to do the tighten up. Tighten it down. now we're tight. All right. So now we need to purge our lines to make sure nothing is inside our lines, whether it be spider, spider web, a bug, or whatever. All right. So I'm going to crack this tank, run my pressure up, shut my tank off. Same thing with the acetylene. Crack your tank slowly, close it back. You got pressure on it now, so we want to run these lines. So I'm going to run the acetylene first. You try setting your pressure, and you'll see that needle rise a quick second, and then they both fall, which means you're set. All right, you just purged it. Loosen it back up. Same thing here. Zeroed out, loosen it back up. All right, so you have no pressure on your lines now. Okay, so now we want to hook up our torch body. What I like to do when I get ready to hook up my torch bodies, take my torch body here. I'm going to check and make sure these are closed off, okay? And they're not He-Man tight. Only tighten these finger tight, okay? So once again, you'll see the cuts in that nut there that show that that is the fuel side, which matches this one. Sorry, but I cut off part of my finger, so I'm having time with these. All right, got that one on. Oxygen hooked up. Alright, now you want to tighten these down. Okay, this is your mixing chamber, okay? So now we want to hook our torch head up. The torch head has a unique design that it has rubber seals in here, okay? So that way it seals it off. You will only hand tighten this. You never use a wrench or anything to put it any tighter. Alright, that's hand tight. Now I want to check to make sure that my tip is secured. Check, make sure this is off. Okay. So now we're ready to put pressure on it and then test it for leaks. So I'm going to turn my acetylene on slowly, and then about a quarter of a turn. Oxygen slowly. Open it wide open. So now I want to crack my fuel. Open it up a little bit. Set my work pressure between 5 and 6. Shut it back off. Oxygen. Turn this knob all the way on. And then you crack this knob and set to about 20 pounds of pressure. All right, shut that off. All right, now we're ready to check to make sure we don't have any leaks. Anywhere we hooked up to, we want to make sure we're not leaking. No leaks there. No leaks there. No leaks there. None there. No leaks here. No leaks here. All right, so we're good, no leaks. So now we're ready to light it, okay? So I'm gonna do a light up. Let me get my proper PPE, my helmet on. So believe it or not, using a oxyacetylene torch can still hurt your eyes. So you want to turn your fuel on, make sure you don't have nobody in front of, you're not pointing your flame towards anybody, kind of point it downward. You turn your fuel on. Adjust your fuel. And then you want to adjust your flame. See how I'm bringing the feather in? Right there. I squeeze my handle. Squeezing that handle gives you the oxygen pressure you need to flow through and make your cut. Okay? So always remember that. And make sure you got a good blow here. All right, here we go. We're gonna cut something. You want to heat up the end before you squeeze the trigger. And that's how you cut it. So now we're going to shut it down. You got to shut it down properly. We're going to turn the oxygen off, turn the acetylene off. Okay. Now we're going to come back over here. And the first thing I teach my students to do, we turn off acetylene first. Okay. And then we drain. So both needles drop to zero. All right, they've dropped to zero. You close this back up, and then you loosen your regulator back up. All right, oxygen, cut it off. And then we drain it. We do oxygen last, so that way the gas chamber's emptied and doesn't have no fuel left in it. The oxygen will blow the fuel out. Then you shut this down, close this off, and loosen this. Now you're complete. That is a proper and safe way to set up an oxyacetylene cutting torch.